In the deserts of the Sahel, in the forests of northeastern Nigeria, along the shores of Lake Chad, a dangerous storm is gathering. For years, the world believed the defeat of the so-called Islamic State in Iraq and Syria marked the beginning of the end of one of history's most brutal terrorist organizations. But that victory was only part of the story, because while ISIS was losing territory in the Middle East, it was quietly planting deeper in Africa. Now, in its 2026 counterterrorism strategy, the United States government has issued a stark warning. Africa is becoming a new global epicenter of terrorism. And at the center of this crisis stands Nigeria. Along the broader Lake Chad Basin, Nigeria has been identified as one of the most critical battlegrounds in the fight against ISIS and its affiliates. But why is Africa attracting the world's deadliest extremist group? Why are countries like Nigeria, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Somalia, Sudan, and Mozambique increasingly under siege? And what does this mean for the future of Africa? This is not just a regional security issue. This is a warning to the entire continent. At its peak, ISIS controlled vast territories across Iraq and Syria, ruling over millions and spreading terror around the world. Cities such as Mosul and Raqqa become symbols of fear and brutality. But by 2019, a coordinated military operations led by the United States and its allies dismantled ISIS territorial caliphate. Many assumed the threat had been neutralized. They were mistaken. Terrorist groups do not need capitals or borders to survive. They squeeze in one region. They adapt and migrate to areas where governance is weak, where borders are porous, and where local grievances can be exploited. For ISIS, Africa offered exactly that. Africa presents several conditions that extremist groups exploit: vast and difficult to police territory, fragile state institutions, poverty and unemployment, ethnic and communal tension, political instability, limited military resources. The Sahel, stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to Red Sea, has become one of the most volatile regions on earth. In parts of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, armed groups have expanded rapidly, overrunning communities and challenging state authority. The Lake Chad Basin, shared by Nigeria, Chad, Cameroon, and Niger, remains a major hotspot. And in East and Southern Africa, groups such as Al-Shabaab in Somalia and ISIS-linked insurgents in Mozambique continue to threaten regional stability. According to the U.S. strategy, the continent is now a central theater in the global fight against terrorism. Nigeria has battled violent extremism for more than a decade. The insurgency, led by Boko Haram and its splinter faction, the Islamic State West Africa province ISWAP, has killed tens of thousands and displaced millions. ISWAP, in particular, is considered one of the most organized and resilient ISIS affiliates in the world, operating mainly in Borno State and surrounding areas. The group has demonstrated the ability to launch sophisticated attacks, control local territories, tax communities, recruit fighters, conduct cross-border operations. The region around Lake Chad provides neutral cover and strategic mobility, allowing militants to move between countries and evade military pressure. This is why Washington sees Nigeria as a strategic priority. What happens in Nigeria could shape the security future of West and Central Africa. Behind every headline are real people. Families forced from their home, children denied education, families unable to cultivate their land, communities living under constant fear. In northeastern Nigeria, millions depend on humanitarian aid. Across the Sahel, entire villages have been abandoned. Schools have closed, health systems have collapsed, and economic activity has been disrupted. Terrorism is not only a military threat, It is a direct assault on development, governance, and human dignity. Military operations are necessary, but they are not enough. A durable response requires stronger intelligence cooperation among African states, better border security, economic opportunities for young people, quality education, community-based de-radicalization programs, good governance and accountability. Regional bodies such as the Economic Community of West Africa States and the African Union must play a more coordinated role. International partners can provide support, but African-led solutions will be decisive. Because terrorism thrives where citizens lose faith in institutions. The defeat of ISIS in Iraq and Syria did not end the threat, it shifted the battlefield. And today, that battlefield stretches across Africa from the Sahel to Somalia, from Mozambique to the Lake Chad Basin. The US warning underscores a broader reality. Africa is now central to the global struggle against extremism. For Nigeria, the stakes are especially high. This is a fight not only for territorial security, but for the future of millions of young Africans. The choices made today will determine whether the continent becomes a model of resilience or a prolonged theater of instability. Terrorism is not just a government problem, it is a challenge that affects every African who believes in peace, progress, and opportunity. What do you think? Can Africa defeat terrorism through stronger regional cooperation? Should governments invest more in education and jobs than in weapons alone? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you value in-depth African documentaries and analysis, subscribe to Kann Media Group. Like this video and turn on notifications because Africa's story deserves to be told with clarity, depth, and purpose.